Welcome back to Crossroaded, the only no filter moto podcast out there. I am your host, Eric Nichols. Thank you for joining us this week. We are going to do a little recap as far as what we saw out there in Alabama, Roll Tide.
Oh,
So
boo.
last year we saw a little bit of rain at this one, so we weren't really sure what we were going to get. But before we get into the racing and the riding, introducing the guest this week, Justin Reese. What's up, Justin?
What's up, Eric? What's up, guys? It's a good weekend. I think a lot of people excited to have some racing back after a week off. It makes it feel like it's 3 weeks. So glad we have some racing and can talk about it this week.
Yeah, it did seem like it was a long break, but it was nice to come right back into a Triple Crown. That was cool. So they set it up
Yeah.
nicely. But let's go right into it. There's a lot of storylines heading into obviously with an off week. There's going to be a lot of drama coming into it. Very first, the JCoop drama. Obviously, there was that viral video of his chick and Mickey Mace, whatever, just hanging out. And now there's all of a sudden these rumors and stuff. I don't know what reputation Mickey has. Apparently, they're just friends. But man, Justin, did JCoop not like that picture floating around?
Yeah, dude, it blew up quick, and a lot of people I think just blew it out of proportion. If you follow Justin, he is a big time gambler. I mean, during the off season, he's at the casino pretty much all the time, so I'm sure they do talk and hang out and everything, but it definitely didn't look good. But I think the worst part was Jay Coop's response. Jay Coop blowing it out on, commenting it and stuff like that. I think that made it a lot worse. Kind of played into it and made a lot more people think like, uh-oh, was there really something happening or whatever, instead of just joking it off and like, haha, you guys are stupid or whatever.
Yeah, if you're a dude out there and you have something like this, if you're trying not to come off as insecure, you're trying to come off as you don't care, commenting on the post about it is not the way to do it. Um, Better off just, keeping that one to yourself. But
Not just
yeah,
one
I
comment
mean,
either. He had multiple comments. He was replying to people and shit. And I'm like, dude, just shut the
yeah,
fuck
and I
up.
mean, Jay Coop's not the most, well-known liked writer out there, so
Mhm.
yeah, it just kind of feeds right into the pot of, yeah, man, like now you're just giving people a reason to not like you even more. But who knows? People say, hey, maybe this can be his motivation to come out and he'll sweep Bama, but we'll get into the results later and find out that something else happened.
The
Um,
meme,
I,
the memes were great for it though.
oh yeah,
God, dude, these people, these meme guys, whoever doing it for Moto, they've been on it this year. I mean, geez, there's been so many great storylines, and they just kill it every time. And
yeah.
dude, shout out to the guys that, I think I saw someone with the J Coop t-shirt, like a free J Coop cucking or something like that. I was laughing. I don't remember. I think it was on Instagram. I saw it, but I was laughing at that. Someone had that at Supercross.
Yeah. And hey, so, speaking of t-shirts, the other big story, which it didn't even really come out until the day of, late that morning, that Friday night. Danger Boy Hayden Deegan gets busted for street racing. He gets his mugshot put up there. But yeah, I mean that was the storyline, right around race day live, that story kind of broke out. They're off week, but hey, if you're gonna get in trouble doing something, do the street race, and the Deegans have fully backed it. They got their own shirts printed now with the mugshot on there. But yeah, Justin, I mean that was a story of the afternoon right there.
Yeah, I think that was a big shocker for everyone in the industry. I mean, kind of a shocker that like he actually got caught for. I think everyone had an idea. Of course, he's going to do it. He's young with all this money. He's got that Audi R8 and the
Hmm.
Lambo. It's just a matter of time getting a ticket. All of us are dumb. If we had a
Yeah.
car like that, dude, I guarantee we've been arrested way before he was. So, it's just part of being a teenager and learning. But at least they're not like, oh no, he didn't do it. The cop was a douche or something like that. At least they're kind of like making a joke out of it and like, you fuck up, you make mistakes. At least he wasn't in a car
Yeah.
crash or something like that. Like, it's not smart to be street racing, but at least no one got hurt. It seems like it wasn't that big of a deal. He only had $1,000 bond, so it couldn't be that big of a deal. So, but the mugshot was funny. I mean, I need to get one of
Yeah.
those T-shirts. The one with the color, though. I don't want the one that the Deegans put out. We need one with him in that orange jumpsuit.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, he's a kid, he's a teenager. It's going to happen. It is what it is. I mean, honestly, it fits right into the Danger Boy brand. You know, if anything, it's just going to make his brand pop up even more because his fans are going to freaking love it. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was just funny how that just happened to pop up in the middle of all this that was going on. So, really funny story. This season's been full of them. Another story, that's been kind of talked about. This was an open air stadium, and Justin, every race from here on out is an open air stadium. How's that make you feel?
Good. If it rains, it rains. If it snows, it snows. If it's windy, it's windy. Let the boys play. This is motocross. We're not supposed to be in some fancy, perfect conditions like it's a soccer field. If they wanted to be pussies, they can go play soccer. Race
But
whatever
isn't
the
that
hell the
isn't that
weather
what
is.
motocross is for? Isn't that what outdoors is? Rain or shine, is outdoor supercross is more of a show.
It is. It's all a show at the end of the day, but still, you got to race. I mean, I want to see who's the best of the best, no matter what. I don't want them to have this perfect track.
Okay, so here's the thing though. If we do this and the race is the race, if Cooper Webb ends up getting a DNF because his bike blows up from not finishing and Sexton wins the title, I don't want to hear this asterisk, oh, it happened again. I don't want to hear
Gifted a
none of that.
title. No, I mean a DNF, a bike issue, that's a lot big difference than someone, having a freak accident, and then, a bike issue in that weather, that's part of the racing, with we see so many years of the rain and weather, we haven't really had many, I don't think we've really had one weather race this year.
No, we
Um
got really, really lucky.
r-
I thought it sprinkled a little bit at one of them, but it was nothing that
yeah,
made a
not
difference.
no, yeah, nothing like a mutter or anything like that like we normally have. It almost makes me think, like you said, with a couple of these, rest of the stadiums being outdoors. I know they're going to Seattle, that can rain at any moment, even if it
I
doesn't
think it
say.
is. I think it
And
is too.
yeah, and then they're going back east. They do, I think it's Boston, Philly,
Yeah.
Pittsburgh. Those can rain whenever. So I mean, it'd be good to see a good wrinkle thrown in, the race. I mean, you gotta be ready for whatever the weather throws at you. It's just part of racing.
Yeah, I mean, we've been really lucky, right? I mean, look how last year was. Like it seemed like every single race was a mutter. So halfway through the title here, the season, if we get a couple of rain races here, a couple mutters, I'm fine. We've been great. We've gotten lucky so far this year, so I'm all for it. Whatever's going to make that title chase, a little bit more interesting. Um,
I think it would be more of a big deal if like Jet and Eli were here and we were having like this crazy fierce like 3-4 way battle for the title, and then like a rain thing and it like fucked everything up. But I think right now with it kind of being just
Justin,
Webb and
there
Sexton,
is
it's just too.
nothing more fierce than Sexton versus Webb for a title.
Oh no,
Sexton versus Webb
I want to see Tomac and Jet go
doesn't
at
get any
it.
better than that.
I'm bummed that this year we didn't get to see Tomac and Jet all year Supercross. I think those two, once they got into the middle of the season, them two just would have been fucking gone.
Yeah, a bunch of
What ifs?
hopes and dreams,
Yeah,
right? We'll
yep,
see.
yep.
Maybe we'll get it in outdoors. That'd be cool. All right, another story kind of touch up on real quick. Christian Craig makes his return. There's a lot of questions as far as what the hell his role even was. He was supposed to be there helping Danger Boy, but then Danger Boy kind of broke off from that. Craig was supposed to help the 250 guys, but from what I heard, it didn't sound like the 250 guys were really asking him for any help. And then here he goes, he lines up and he's ready to go. I mean, I don't know what expectations you had for Craig going into it, but yeah, where are you at as far as Craig's return?
Well, honestly, I didn't even know he tore his ACL after the last round of SMX last year. I guess he's been on the mend of a torn ACL, so that's what he's been hurt with. So I was kind of shocked when I found that out, and I'm like, oh, it kind of makes sense now why it's taken so long for him to come back. But I just think if you're those 250 guys, you went to Star because of what they have and already established. Like, yeah, Christian's a great rider, but if I have to pick between Christian Craig or Swanepoel, who's been training all these guys and has that proven record, I think I'm gonna pick Swanepoel and Ricky's mom, Jeannie, I think. But I'd rather go with that proven success. Craig's done a great job riding, but we've never really seen him as a coach, and it seemed like Deegan had to make a switch because something wasn't clicking for him.
Yeah, it doesn't. It's just the whole situation's weird. I don't know. Maybe Bobby just likes looking at Paige around the camp. Because the whole situation doesn't make much sense to me. But hey, he made his return, so hey, another factory rider being put into the mix. I'm here for it.
Hey,
And then the last,
Maybe Paige's dad threw some money towards Bobby or whatever, because
right?
Paige's dad used to be, he was like a part owner of Planet Fitness and was one of the co-owners of Geico. So,
Yeah,
maybe they're throwing some money to Bobby. Hey, just give Christian a run.
it could be they'll cover his salary. And then the last thing I touched up on, kind of small one, but I saw some introduction of some new tough blocks that are triangular shape. Some people hate the tough blocks; they can't stand them. Some people they don't care. Justin, where do you stand as far as the tough block situation? Because to me, I really don't give a shit.
I just think it's about time they change something up. I think the square or rectangle ones, I think those have been long overdue. We see them all the time. You barely touch them. I think with the triangle ones, it's going to work a lot better, especially some of these tracks that have these ruts. You're searching everywhere along the edge of the track, and with those triangles, it kind of limits a little bit of those foot pegs probably getting caught, in some weird spots, and even landing on them, a triangle, your tire lands on the downside, it's going to slide off instead of it like pogoing if it's square and flat. So it'd be interesting to see. That was one thing I did have written down for us to talk about, because at least they're trying something. About fucking time. It's been 20 years since they got rid of hay bales and we've gone to these tough blocks and haven't done anything to make them better. And people have been griping about them for years. So about time.
Yeah, I mean they're making little adjustments, right? They're putting in as little effort as possible. But yeah, I mean to me, It's, I mean, to me, I think the tough blocks even save some guys just as much as they take them down. I've seen some
Mhm.
guys crash pretty hard or get thrown a little awkwardly, and thankfully it was a foam tough block that they landed on. But yeah, I think something as far as the design goes, like you said, not anything that's rectangular or square or tall. Going with the triangle, it still allows them to put the company's name on there pretty good, but it doesn't have to be as tall or as big to where it's going to cause a lot of issues. But I don't know. What are we going to see them replace every single one of them? So it's just another weird thing to where they just kind of were out. I think they just kind of put it in a couple sections, and I don't know. I guess they're just going to see if anyone hit them and call it good.
Yeah, I think they're just testing them right now, obviously, which it looks like because they didn't come out with like bunch of them.
Right.
But I think if you look at the Supercross the last maybe 2, 3 years, it's like they're really starting to listen to the, media, all the griping about some of the shit that's been in stone for years, that's so outdated. Our sport's behind a lot in technology and stuff like that compared to other racing and motorsports and safety shit. So, it's kind of cool to see Supercross trying to change some stuff up, try to either make it better or whatever. But it's cool, at least they're trying this time and listening to outside people instead of just indoor.
Right. No, yeah, exactly. Let's go over to Lit Kit. I put here the Fox gear. I like the all navy. I thought that looked really good. I didn't really care for the numbers, the green
Hmm.
numbers. But what about you? Who had a lit kit out there that you liked?
Web ward again, that black and red. That black and
Oh
red
yeah.
fly gear. I mean, it's gonna be hard to beat that, pretty much. If he wears that every week, he could probably win it. That gear is just so clean. It just looks sick, that black and red. I thought FXR's gear is kind of cool, that blue and pink stuff, like cotton candy kind of. That looked decent. Who else? I think it was Anderson was wearing like a cool gray, I think it
Oh
was.
yeah.
He had that cool kind of gray A-Star kit, so that was sick. And I saw Chisholm had I saw Liette try to do like some weird red and orange, a little
Okay,
goofy.
yeah.
From the one picture I saw was a little goofy, but they're definitely trying to do something different, not trying to be the same as everyone else.
Yeah, Leah usually has some pretty crazy color
Hmm.
schemes out there. So yeah, whatever they got to do to stand out. Um, all right. Well, shoot. I think as far as storylines going into it, I don't think there's anything else before we dive into the track layout. No.
Yeah, not that I can think of, honestly. Oh, if we want to talk about the whole Hayden thing, another thing, I think the funniest thing, the way I found out. was Bomer fucking posted him on a
Oh
mountain
yeah,
bike ride,
yeah.
and literally he just has Deegan's mugshot in the side, and it's like, it seemed like his social media team or whoever his management told him to take it down because it was gone pretty quick. But I
Yeah.
think the whole funny in the mugshot, it says occupation unemployed, and so it was just like funny to see that. But that was like the only thing else I got for like storyline. I just thought it was funny. Bomer, I think he posts like two or three of them too. So.
Yeah, and it's funny that the rivalry still goes on even on an off week with these two. I mean, Juju's kind of out of the title now too, but there's definitely still some rivalry going there. So yeah, it's fun. It definitely keeps it more interesting. All right, let's go to this track layout. I talked about it. As soon as it got going, this reminded me of Salt Lake City. If I didn't know where it was, I honestly would have thought it was Salt Lake City or even Denver. Um, I mean, for Alabama and like being in the South, it's not what I anticipated. It was dry as shit. It was dusty as hell. It looked like it looked like the kind of dirt, like the color of it, that if you put water on it, that it would hold. But I don't know if it was windy or what, but it didn't really seem like it was too hot there. But yeah, just I don't know. I expected a lot more out of this Alabama dirt from than what we got.
It looked like it was some sort of like kind of like a clay, but like you said, during practice and qualifying, it was dry and dusty. And then at the nighttime, it seemed like all that moisture started to come up because I know they watered it a lot. You could tell in the first heat, but it seemed to get a little bit tackier and better throughout the night. But like you said, I don't know if it was windy during the day, but it was a complete dust bowl. And like you said, it looked like Salt Lake if you were just watching qualifying and you didn't know. Even the way the stadium, like the way it looked on TV, the stadium, it
Hmm.
looked like just some small. And I'm curious why they're going to Birmingham. Why aren't they trying to get into Bama's? Go to Tuscaloosa. All the college kids, I mean, shit, dude, there's so many
There,
people
there's
down
gotta
there,
be, there's gotta be something because you think about it, there's not a single college stadium on the schedule that does a race.
which is surprising. I would think
So I
college
don't
football
know.
stadiums, 100,000 seat
Well,
stadiums.
that could be why they're way too big. It could be the tradition. They don't want dirt in there. Yeah, I mean,
Hmm.
I honestly, I don't really know. But yeah, I mean that honestly, that those kind of stadiums with Snapdragon stadiums, honestly, I feel like those are kind of perfect for Supercross. Like if
A
you
little
put into
small.
a Glendale in Arizona or a Cowboys stadium, like the top half or the top nosebleeds are practically empty anyways. Like it's always just that
Hmm.
bottom. So yeah, I think it's just better for the aesthetic. Even Utah's kind of is a smaller stadium too, but yeah, stuff like that just kind of a little bit smaller, a little bit gives it a little bit better a better
Yeah.
feel. But yeah, I mean we saw them do a couple of new things with the track too. We saw that that 360 sand. We've seen it a couple years back. I know it's been in a couple rounds, but it was cool to kind of see that thrown in there. But I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying to think. I know there's a couple quads here and there. I know they took it down after Anstie's wreck, which we'll get into that with our qualifying. But I mean, other than that, Justin, I mean, the track itself, I mean, nothing really spectacular.
It almost seemed kind of pretty basic. The way the race
Hmm.
lines and everything shaped up, it seemed pretty basic. I was rewatching the race today, and I think it was JT or someone said like during qualifying, like 98%, like pretty much everyone's jumping through the whoops and stuff like that. So, and then like at nighttime, a lot of them were all blitzing. So I'm almost kind of curious what they changed through, like the middle between qualifying or racing, or maybe like we are talking about that kind of that moisture came up, gave them a little bit better of a drive coming across the whoops instead of it being a dry dust bowl. Sand was cool. I like it right after an over under because they just come in and just absolutely hammer it through that. And it actually was good that inside outside lines were pretty even or they're going back and forth. So it wasn't one line like most sand sections, can be like when they're tight like that.
Yeah, and I know it was Colt Nichols, he posted a video today of he was doing like a double, like kind of over the first turn. And that really, which I'm surprised no one actually sent that in a race. It must have been slower, but it looked cool, it looked faster.
Oh, coming across the start.
Yeah, coming across the first
Yeah.
corner.
Yeah, I saw I think it was Hill. I think Hill did it in practice or qualifying one time.
Yeah. Yeah, so interesting that no one really busted that out in the main. But yeah, everything out at night, I feel like the track held up pretty good. But yeah, I mean this track caused a lot of issues. There's crashes all day, even into the night show. There's a couple weird crashes, but yeah, it just seemed like a tricky track as far as like the dirt goes and traction for these guys than the track itself. Um, But going into qualifying, starting with the 250s, the biggest story out of it obviously was Max Anstie, Justin, going down, breaking his was it his
Just-
fibula.
Yep.
Really weird kind of crash cases. I'm not sure. I don't know if it like his leg hitting the handlebars is what caused it, or was it when he was actually hitting, jumped off and like hit the ground. But yeah, that sucks. Another big name down, and yeah, this title definitely changes. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. That's a huge loss for Star and for the series. I mean, the pressure was kind of on Anstie. Had a great, first couple rounds. He's kind of had some lackluster last few rounds. So, he lost the title, or the title lead last week or 2 weeks ago when they raced. And so now he kind of had that pressure. And yeah, it was weird. He like came up way short. And I think it was when he jumped off when he landed. And then, yeah, that thing just had to snap because right away he was holding it. He knew. And it was weird. Did you see his bars? His bars
It's
snapped
completely
completely.
snapped.
And yeah, those are those ACF bars too. So those are like one of the strongest
Are
bars.
those pro
Um,
taper?
yeah,
Yeah.
those are the same bars I put on my bike. They're the ACF,
Yeah, that's what's like
and they're
just
like
watching
carbon
it just
fiber.
doesn't
They're
seem
carbon fiber
crazy.
too. Yeah, it was more the get off. I wonder if almost he tried to stay on a little bit longer and maybe like went with his body. May have been a little bit better, but when you're falling out of the sky, 15 feet out of the sky, you're just trying to get to the ground as soon as possible.
Yep. Yeah, no, exactly. But shout out Seth Hammaker gets the fastest lap, 58.6, really starting to show some speed. Shout out Carson Mumford, third overall. He was holding the number one spot there into the last couple of laps. Bennett with a fifth. And then, Forker gets an 11, getting better there. Kind of looking at the rest of these here. That's really what stands out to me as far as the qualifying goes. Justin, how about you? Obviously, with this being a triple crown, these LCQs being a little bit more.
Yeah, 250. I didn't watch much of qualifying. I was too busy setting up for the baby shower. But from what I did watch, it pretty much was Hammaker just out there. I was impressed by to see Mumphy up top. I think it's really good for Mumphy. It seems like he's finally coming to his own. Last pretty much all year, I think he's been riding really well. I'd have to look at what is individual each race, but it seems like he's always up there. He's getting good starts, so it's cool to see Mumphy finally riding good. 450 Sexton, zero point 0.7 seconds faster than anyone. Pretty much
Yep.
a second faster than Webb as well. I think Kenny was like 13th or something like that.
Yeah,
Uh,
Kenny was
that's
out, which it
another.
sounded
That's
like
another.
he had an
That's
an
another
injury.
story. Yeah, that's another story I forgot. We should have probably brought up, but they didn't say that until race day live that he had AC separation or injured his joint. So I wonder how much that, or it obviously affected him, but I wonder how much damage was done because you could tell a little bit in the mains he was losing some of that strength and dropping back.
Yeah, I mean it comes back to the betting, right? Like it's hard to bet this sport because I mean I very much would have, considered Kenny being event winner in there and
Hmm.
going into it not having any idea that he had to get off, that he was hurt going into it. Like, yeah, someone probably did lose some money, on that because, riding with Roxon and not knowing it's hurt, it just kind of continues with this sport. So it's hard to bet on it, but
Especially,
yeah, I
especially with,
mean,
especially with you not finding out till qualifying, because you gotta think like people during
yeah,
Saturday, they may have just not even just looked at times and been like, oh shit, Kenny's way off. He's gonna be able to do this, and they don't really release a lot of news. It's not like we have an ESPN or like an MLB app or something like that that's gonna or
right.
Bleacher Report to drop all our news. It's you either have to be on Instagram and following the people to find out, and if you weren't watching race day live, you like you said, you would have been screwed. And I bet a bunch of people put money on Kenny to win that had no clue
Yeah.
until the first, Triple Crown. They're like, yeah, Kenny crashed during the week and he's a little banged up. And you're like, shit, there goes my money.
Yeah. But yeah, the 450 Sexton gets at the top spot again. JCoop looks good. But yeah, like you said, Roxon with a 10th. Christian Craig gets 14th, his first ride back. Oldenburg, the betas look pretty good most of the day. But yeah, all right. So that wraps up as far as qualifying. Jumping into the LCQs, our 250s. Um, it was entertaining for sure. Shout out to Lorenzo Lacurcio. Not only does he win, but he also won the extra $2,000 that they do for the LCQ. So that's cool. I think that's the first time this year that we saw the guy actually win it with his name on the check.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to see. Yeah, 250 LCQ. It was another crash fest, which it's always great to watch. I mean, I hate to see it, but I love to see it at the same time. It just creates more action. And yeah, Lacurcio, he's only raced Supercross for like what, 2, 3 years? Because he came from Europe when they started at Team or whatever outdoors.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
think
pretty, it's
so.
pretty, it's pretty good for him. First couple years being a foreigner. I think he raced MXGP,
Yeah, for
MX2. So.
Venezuela.
Yeah, so it's cool to see him coming in here, kind of making a name, and he started out doing it on his own. So, props to him grinding it out.
Yeah. And then shout out to Lane Shaw. I don't know if you heard this on the broadcast during Race Day Live, but apparently when he signed up for this race, he was in the hospital getting something done. I don't know, but it was under anesthesia or something. But he filled it out on there, and when it asked for a nickname, he put Lane, I think it was Shaw Daddy. So on his actual entry form, it says Lane Shaw Daddy Shaw on the
No
AMA
way.
like
That's
actual
so
interest
funny.
race.
That's
So
fucking
yeah,
awesome.
I guess he filled it out when he was when he was under the influence at the
God, that
hospital, and yeah, put
that
that
more
on. So pretty funny.
that morphine hits different, dude.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's funny. I had no clue about that. Everyone's just gonna start calling him Shaw Daddy now, I bet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
That's
yeah,
funny. Hey,
pretty funny story.
he needs to come out with a butt patch with that or whatever. That's Texas boy, right? He's near you, isn't he?
Yeah, says
Wasn't he riding at
Alvin.
that track you picked up your suspension from that one
Could
time,
have
right?
been. Yeah, maybe.
I think he was there with Oldenburg.
Yeah, might have been him. All right, going into the 450 LCQ. This one was definitely interesting as well. You know, Mitchell Harrison gets the win, followed by Tristan Lane, Kevin Moranz, and Justin Starling. But yeah, I mean, these LCQs are the Triple Crowns. You can't complain. They're always good. There's so much on the line. And yeah, they never disappoint. But yeah, 450 LCQ, shout out Mitchell Harrison for getting the win there.
Yeah, I swear, like we've said before, it's the same six guys just cycle through every week. And those LDQ, like just hearing those four names, you're like, yep, not surprised. It sounds like a regular. So yeah, there's like those top six guys in the 450 LCQ that are always battling each other. And normally two of them eat shit, take each other out, or they put on some type of show. So at least it's the consistency of those guys, and you can start to learn them and learn who they are just because they're providing action every week, it seems like.
Yeah. Shout out Jack Chambers. Kind of a bummer. He's been actually riding really well, making a lot of mains, and then he just got screwed in that race, dude. He was going through that rhythm, and someone went down right in front of him and kicked the hay bell or the tough block right in front of him, and he went down.
Mm.
So shout out to him because he's been actually riding really good. I think he's working with Zacho. Um, but yeah, he's been looking good. All right, 250 race number one. Man, did it start off with some fireworks. I mean, there was that massive pileup with Hamburger going down, loose in that corner, took out multiple guys. Hampshire ends up getting the lead from there. It really kind of checks out from there. But yeah, I mean, we ended up seeing, that crash for Hamburger going down to one really, really kind of ruined his night. And we've talked about in these Triple Crowns, you can't win it in the first race, but you can definitely lose it. And Hammaker definitely lost it there.
It was almost like a Bowmare 2.0 in Glendale. I
Yep.
mean, I know Hampshire got the whole shot. He was out front, but Hammaker was right there behind him, and he just tucked the front, and everyone stacked up. But for him to get up and get back to ninth, I mean, he was ripping all day, obviously by his qualifying time. But just watching him, he was buried. He was dead last. So he came all the way through to work his way up to ninth, which is kind of impressive. I think they're 10 minutes. So yeah, Hammaker was ripping. I was I was kind of hoping Vial would put a little bit more of a challenge to Hampshire in that first moto, but it seemed like Vial just kind of sat back a little bit. And then, he waited too long. He almost got him on that last lap. He could have done a Michael Lessie ghost ride, into into one of those last coming back from the start, but kind of eased up. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I don't know what it is, but Tom just doesn't seem like he has that speed this year. Like I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't win a
it's the
race.
intensity. I think it's the intensity.
And he might still end up winning the title doing it. I mean, he's seen everyone else hit the deck. Anstie obviously just goes down. So it's like Tom Vial's like intentionally just be like, oh, I'm just gonna hang back and just whatever I log because it's probably gonna be enough anyways.
Yeah, and a second in the first moto is just as good as a win. If you really think about it, if you want to start playing your championship odds and your winning odds for the night, you could say he's settled. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, we want to see that speed from you. We want to see you work your way through, pass them, get the lead, run away. But I mean, if he's just trying to do it to win a championship pays a hell of a lot more than a win, and your legacy's a lot better with the title instead of having wins. So it's
Yeah.
smart on his point, but also I was looking for some more. I just want to see Vial show that flashy speed, but
Honestly, I don't
he's
even
a
know if I've seen him win a heat race. I'm sure he has, but I feel like I can't even
I don't
remember him winning a heat
I
race.
I think he might have one. I don't. Yeah, maybe one. I'm not even sure. Like you said, if he's one, I think he has one, but he may be the first person to win a regional Supercross title without winning a race, since Tim Ferry did it.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Now,
Going back to back doing it too. So that would definitely be crazy. All right, so Thrasher third, Volan fourth, good ride for him.
oh,
Mumford
Forkner,
with the top
For,
five.
Forkner and Bennick were both down in that crash too with Hammaker. Forkner just keeps finding the fucking pile up. Every
Yeah.
first lap, he just finds a way to be stuck in that pile up. So he needs to figure that out.
Well, you gotta get better starts, right? Otherwise they're gonna be in that crowd the whole time. But hey, he manages an 11th, not bad. But let's see, Hardy Munoz rode great. You got a
V-
seventh there. Bennick with an eighth, and Mumford with a
Volan,
five.
Volan
Yeah,
fourth.
yeah,
That hand
Volan
that
with a fourth.
that handbrake didn't fail this time.
It sounds like they changed something to where they got to work, but yeah, I mean some really impressive rides on there in Moto One. But yeah, Hampshire gets it done. Over to 450 Heat One. I mean, Sexton came out, did exactly what he needed to do. AP got the whole shot. Chase Sexton ended up getting him. Kind of checked out, kind of rode off into the sunset. We saw Webb go down, very similar area as Hemrick did too, so that kind of threw a wrench into his night as well. But yeah, Justin, what stood out to you in that 450 race one?
Oh, the big highlight: Sexton chopping Anderson's front tire off. And honestly, like if you look at it, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad of a Sexton could have done a lot worse if he really wanted to. But it's kind of if you watch it, Anderson kind of sees him coming in and thinks he's maybe coming in maybe a little bit tighter, and Anderson kind of corrects it, and then Sexton just kind of came up a little bit higher, and it was just Anderson just had to pretty much drop the bike and was screwed. It was a textbook. It was perfect pass. So nothing
Yeah,
wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. It sucks Anderson went down, but when you're coming across a start like that into a big 180 bowl turn like that, you have to know they're coming inside. Like Anderson, you do this to people all the time. You should know
yeah.
it's coming.
And Sexton was carrying so much speed into that corner too, like
Hmm.
almost too much it seemed like. But yeah, I saw that, and the very first thing that I thought was, there's another dumb mental mistake by Sexton. You still got two more race. It's not like a main event, to where like, all right, you're done with the guy, he'll get over it come next week. It's no, you got to race this dude two times in the same night again. So when I saw that, I'm like, Sexton, I'm like, you just did it again. We'll talk about the rest of the night and how it worked out, but everyone wants to say, oh yeah, he bounced back. But to me, I'm just like, he still made a bonehead move. He was clearly faster than Anderson. There's no reason to even make an attempt to have to take him out or anything like that. But I mean, we'll see how it goes. But
Well, we even heard
yeah,
Ricky. Ricky even said something right away. He's like, "You shouldn't have done that. That's not what you want to start doing." Like Ricky was even like, dude, you don't want to be starting that with him, especially if you want to win this title. And like you said, it's the first one of the triple crowns. It's not like it's race three, Like you better start in front of him and get away because he will try to come back. So, I wonder if they exchange some words after that. that first race. I didn't hear anything, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, who knows? With this Anderson might not be even retaliate. He's in a contract year. He's not going to go out there and just start causing a bunch of issues and looking like a jackass. Kawasaki will drop him. So who knows? Maybe Anderson kind of lets this one go and kind of moves. I mean, he's out of the title hunt. So he doesn't have a dog in the fight. He's got to get those results. Um, all right, jumping over to 250 race number two. Um, have this pulled up. So Hammaker ended up getting out there, getting the win as well. Sorry, Hammaker bounces back, gets the win, doesn't tuck it, looked really good. RJ Hampshire with the second, Thrasher with another third, Mumford with another top five with the fourth, followed by Vial, Volan, Bennett, Faulkner with an eighth, Colin Park, and then Chant, Hymas. But yeah, Justin, race two, Hammaker looked good, really put it all together and showed us what could have been possibly in that first race.
Yeah, Hammerker came out ripping. I mean, he pretty much waxed everyone. He made a couple mistakes in the beginning of it, and Hampshire was right there, kind of giving him a challenge for a little bit, but then he kind of just controlled the race and kind of ran away with it. Thrasher, kind of a sneaky ride. He's been riding pretty good in these Triple Crowns, so it's cool to see Thrasher kind of up there. He just always has those few weeks he rides really good throughout a season, and that's what keeps him having that ride because they'll somehow miraculously win a race. And it's like we never saw Thrasher coming to do this. So he rode really good. You shouted out Mumphy. Like I said
Hmm.
earlier, Mumphy a fourth, qualifying third, fifth the first Triple Crown event or main, and then a fourth to back it up. That's the consistency I think, everyone wanted to see from him after a few years. So that'd be nice to see.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean he's been riding really well. I felt like he was riding good at PC before he got kicked off of there. I think his
Hmm.
biggest thing is he just keeps getting hurt. I know he had a scare this round, but from what I saw, it looks like the X-ray came back negative, so he might be okay. But yeah,
That's cool.
he's really been riding really good lately, and yeah, to do this at a Triple Crown is really impressive. Um, Vial with the fifth, once again, didn't no signs of flash. Faulkner much better there. Volan, good ride. Um, but yeah,
I
250
I
main event number two. I mean, honestly, after those first races, I mean, these races kind of slowed down and didn't really have as much excitement going
They're
for them.
they're they're kind of boring a little bit. There wasn't a lot of action in a lot of them, so it kind of seemed like a dull night. I don't know if maybe it's the way the track was, maybe the way the track played out, that it was just kind of a one line or not enough passing opportunities. But it just, yeah, like you said, it just kind of seemed dull. I mean, there wasn't much
Yeah.
action at all. Once you either funneled into where your position was and kind of just handled it. If you didn't have anything after the first 2, 3 laps, you were pretty much just stuck where you were at. There wasn't a lot of time making ability on the track unless you were just full gas into every single corner.
Yeah, which I think this track definitely had a limit. I think a lot of guys
Hmm.
found their limit, and it was just a little bit slower pace of what we normally see. But yeah, with the conditions, I just don't feel like these guys really could have pushed it without taking the risk of hitting the deck. All right, anything else 250 race two before we jump over to 450 race two?
Nope, not on 250s at all. Nope.
All right, 450 race two, kind of honestly almost identical to race one. Sexton looked great, got the win. This time it was Webb that took out Anderson. So tough night for Anderson getting taken out by the two title contenders. So at least now, if you're Sexton, you're like, hey, Webb did the same shit. So, now you got to go after him too. Um, but Malcolm second, AP third, Cooper Webb, Barsha, Roxon, JCoop, Anderson, Justin Hill, Benny Bloss, and Oldenburg. Christian Craig got a 15th in this one, so not great. Dylan Ferrandis ended up getting a DNF. I saw him pull off. Um, but yeah, it was really interesting on the broadcast how they were really breaking down the steel suspension versus what the aluminum suspension and how that could play a factor. And if you look at the results, that's exactly what it was. There was multiple Austrian bikes. If you're looking at this one, four out of the top five were all in that steel frame. So it was kind of crazy how they were talking about it. If you look at the results, and these are guys that you don't normally see up there, right? You don't see Barcia up in fifth. AP's been struggling to get on the box. Same thing with Malco. So I thought that was really interesting them talking about it, seeing the results match what they're discussing.
Yeah, though I think the whole night we saw a lot of Austrian brands, even 250, Vial, Hampshire up there. And then like you said, 450, it seemed like AP was getting great start. Sexton was running good. Barsha, I think he was down at one point, so he had to come through the pack. One of the heats or one of the mains, but yeah, you could definitely tell it seemed like those Austrian bikes were working a lot better on that track for some reason. It's kind of weird to think it plays that much of a factor, just the
Hmm.
material of the chassis and stuff. You would think, oh my God, these bikes have been around for so long. You would think it wouldn't make that big of a difference, but I think I think they said, what is it, steel flexes more than aluminum now, or maybe backwards. But it's just
Hmm.
crazy to think. It's crazy to think that one of them flexes more, like that much more, to feel that difference and cause like a problem, or that gap in time and place and position. And then, like you said, Webb Webb on Anderson. I don't know what's going on with Anderson. He's gotten bullied, it seems like, the last few weeks.
Yeah, he's gonna change
He's
his
been
nickname now.
yeah, he's getting, maybe he's a little too fried. He's losing his focus out there. But yeah, something. It just seems like he doesn't really have that crazy aggression. I don't know.
I
Like you said,
mean,
maybe,
he's just
maybe,
getting
maybe it's his
old.
contract year, like you said. Maybe because it is his contract year, he's not trying to create any rifts or any drama that could keep Cali from wanting to re-sign him, like bad publicity of always taking people out. So, like I said, maybe it's just that in his contract year, he's just trying to play it smooth and take it easy and trying to be smart,
Yeah.
but he's getting pushed around too much.
Yeah, definitely uncharacteristic, right? Because I mean, even Anderson, like he's a bigger dude in the pits too. So for him to be getting dropped like that, like it's brutal. Yeah, that's a tough look for sure. Shout out to the Beta guys, Benny with the 10th, Oldenburg at 11th. Has to be probably some of the best finishes of the year there. But
Hmm.
yeah, main event too. Kind of more of the same of what we saw. Malcolm Stewart was riding really good.
Yeah, he moved through the pack pretty quick. I thought he was
Yep.
gonna have a chance to get Sexton at one point, and then it was like, he kind of settled down a little bit halfway through. But he was ripping. He looked good. It's got that that track, kind of the way it was laid out a little bit, almost kind of like a Tampa a little bit. So
Yeah.
how some of the rhythm sections, like the short little back and forths a little bit, kind of was like a little bit of Tampa, just the way some of the corners and everything lined up. Which I wonder if it's just because it's kind of a smaller floor plan, maybe. I don't really know exactly how big
Yeah.
Birmingham's floor is, but I think like Tampa's is even small for being an NFL stadium like that. So I wonder if it kind of, there's a lot of seems like we're going to a little bit smaller stadium floors. Some of these newer stadiums are making smaller floors, for events because they're trying to put, these NFL teams are, charging millions of dollars for a suite that, you're 5 feet from the out of bounds. So it's kind of limiting, maybe some of our space for racing, and causing these tighter tracks.
Yeah, I mean that's what you're going to get in the football stadiums. Glendale's the only outlier because it has that additional floor space on there. But I mean, yeah, Tampa, it's football slash soccer. San Diego soccer.
Hmm.
This one, we're going to another football stadium. So those soccer and football stadiums are always going to give us a small, tighter tracks than what we see in a baseball stadium. Um, See, that is one thing. Like they could easily maybe throw a Supercross at like a college baseball stadium. Some of these are sick, but once again, I mean, who knows? Baseball stadiums have definitely shown that they're gonna create some of the best tracks there.
Dude, but
Um,
could you imagine though, like a Supercross at Michigan at the Loud House? Oh my God, dude! Or even like Ohio State, like if you could pack. I'm surprised we never go to like Cleveland or Ohio. Kind of shocked by that.
could be maybe the weather. Maybe they're still getting snow.
Could be, but well, I mean, we go to Boston and stuff, so I guess you could throw it, later in the year. But I mean, especially with them having so many races, like Pittsburgh, Philly, they're all within a few hours. It'd almost be smart maybe to throw it to Ohio, but you also already have Indy too, so It's kind of interesting, dude. Some of these college stadiums are just so sick and so big, but like you said, they probably just don't want their shit trashed and ruined.
Yep. All right, and then going over to race number three, 250s, more of the same. Seth Hammerker looked great. Really showed that maybe he was a guy to potentially win the whole thing. So he looked really good. Thrasher second, Vial third, Bennett fourth, RJ with a fifth. RJ definitely made me a little nervous there. I thought he was going to throw it away, especially with Vial just kind of locking in good laps and um. Well, actually, shoot, yeah, RJ did end up still winning it. Um, right?
No, Thrasher won. Thrasher won the
Thrasher. Okay,
overall.
so what? Yeah, okay,
It
so
was it was it was Thrasher,
they
RJ,
tied.
Vial. Yeah, and
Yeah,
Thrasher
so
had
they
the
tied.
better.
So I was worried, and then sure enough, Hampshire. Because I mean, what Hampshire had a 3-point lead going into it.
Yeah, because
So
Thrasher got second and Hampshire got fifth. So yeah, he lost 3 points in that last one.
yeah, so it was his. So he missed out on that one. Followed by Hymus, Colin Park with a seventh, great ride. Hardy looked great all night long with an eighth there. Faulkner ninth, Maximus Volin with a 10th. Um,
Mumphy DNF. Bummer for Mumphy, like you're saying,
yeah,
he
that
got
was when he
hurt.
got hurt.
That sucks. I mean, I think Mumphy could have easily had a top five, even maybe a shot at a podium with the way everything was lining up. He went four
Yeah.
five three or something like that, 4.54 with RJ having that, kind of the mistake and everything, and Vial not being very impressive. He could have easily slid into a third or fourth, very easily, which would have been cool. Been cool to see Mumphy up on the blocks.
Yeah, Mumford was 5-4 going into that last one, so he was probably still going at like a sixth place going into the
What
last
what
one.
what was Thrasher at? Like a two? Let's
Three
see.
three.
Wait,
Thrasher was three
no,
three. Tom Bial was 2-5.
yeah. So he was 2 3 points back, coming into that moto.
Yeah, so going over the overall results, so Thrasher wins 3-3-2. RJ right behind him. Tom Vial. Hammaker fourth with a 9-1-1. Bennett good ride with a fifth. Volin Hymus has been really quiet. I've been kind of waiting for him to kind of come alive and kind of flex a little bit, and he really hasn't. He's been kind of stayed in the back of the top 10. And I don't know, with the breaks and the time off with switching coasts, I've just at this point I've expected Hymus to kind of do a little bit more.
I just think for him, you gotta think he didn't have no off season. He rode the bike for 3 days before Tampa. Kind of, you just gotta think he's just racing into shape right now. He just doesn't. I mean, he's proved he can hang with them sometimes. He's got some of that sprint speed in a couple of these races. He showed it, and it does seem like he fades back towards the later part of the motos. So I'm sure fitness has a big thing. I'm not sure if they're on the 250 is a new bike this year. I think it's only the 450, but
I
you
think the
know
252.
it's
I'm
new to
pretty
see,
sure.
so that could be a big thing too. Only riding 3 days on the bike, before going to Supercross, and it's an all new bike. That's not going to help you at all going racing. So it could be just active testing, even at the race, just trying to find something comfortable. And I think outdoors will come out swinging. I miss really good outdoors, kind of a secret silent assassin outdoors, and he kind of had some stuff last year for a couple of the guys outdoors. So. Yeah, I wish
Yeah.
he was up top. I mean, he ate shit 2 weeks ago on that over under.
And then Colin Park with an eighth, Hardy Munoz with a ninth. So great job. And this is the one that really sticks out to me. Austin Faulkner with the 10th. Getting better, but when you have guys like Colin Park and Hardy Munoz finishing ahead of you, like I don't know, maybe this is it. Maybe we've seen the end of Austin Faulkner. Maybe we just don't see a bounce back because it's just like they're just none of that raw speed has shown at all.
Yeah, I don't even know what to do or what to say for him. I mean, it's hard to defend him. There's no explanation. We thought maybe this was the breath of fresh air he needed. The bike's definitely capable of winning and competing. It's been proven by multiple guys to be able to hang out front. Jalek did it last year. Jordan Smith won on it this year. So I just don't know if Forkner, I don't know if maybe after his injury, they said he had brain surgery. I don't know if maybe he just doesn't want to risk it, because if you're just holding back 5%, that's the difference between winning and being 10th. So,
Yep.
he just had a kid, so maybe that's, kind of father time kicking in, hey, I'm not going to go balls to the walls because now I got a kid. I've already killed myself enough, before the kid. I don't want to do it, actually kill myself this time. So
Yeah.
that could
All
could
valid
very
points.
could very well be it. So it'd be interesting. He hasn't spoke about it. Haven't heard, anyone really talk about, hey Fortner, what's going on? Or, he
No,
hasn't really
I
said
think it's a
much.
it's a touchy subject, like the guy literally had like brain surgery, so you're just like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, like it's like, I don't really want to talk to him. He just had brain surgery. So I mean, if you
Oh
put
fuck
it
it.
that way, the fact that he just had, brain surgery, not too long
Mm-hmm.
ago, like, and now he's riding, and yeah, that's pretty gnarly. Most people would probably hang it up after having to go through that. So all things considered, yeah, but you have his name on it, and you just expected a lot more. Maybe we should be a little bit more patient with them. Looking at the point standings over in the East, I mean, we'll see. We still have a few races for these guys. Weather could definitely be a factor too. I mean, Tom Vial is good in that kind of weather too, I believe. But Tom Vial leading the way, 99 points. RJ Hampshire, 10 back from there with 89. I mean, RJ could definitely, string together a couple of wins. This past weekend would have been nice to have to narrow that down. Hammaker third. He has an outside chance. What is that? 13 points. You never
How
know.
many how many
Anstie,
races how many races are left for 250 East? They got Philly, Boston,
there's
Pittsburgh,
probably three or
and then
four.
East West shootout, so probably four.
Yeah,
So I mean, if Hammaker wins out, I mean, and Vial plays his second the whole time, he still wouldn't. He'd be down a point still. So
yeah.
he'd need a lot of luck. He'd need RJ
And
Vial, but
you
but with
and you
this.
just lost a top guy too with Anstie being in the mix. He's
Mhm.
out.
But even with Anstie out, Vial this week, he wasn't really moving through the pack. So who knows what happens? He could, if he gets a fifth or a sixth, and Hammaker wins, that's a huge point swing right there. And if RJ
Well,
crashes, you never
Vial could
know.
very easily get a 10th at a shootout too.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And even RJ, you never know what RJ is gonna do. RJ can freaking yard sale literally at any moment. So or tuck the front or first turn crack. RJ's another one of those guys. You just got to keep it on two wheels. And Hammaker's the fastest guy on the track in the last like 2-3 weeks. He
yeah,
won.
I
He
would agree.
he was ripping. Was it what he won? Was it Indy, right? Last one I think they had, or wherever they were, but he won that, and then he just won. He should have won this weekend. If he doesn't tuck his front, I think he
Yeah.
wins this weekend for sure. He was just and he fastest qualifier. So Hammaker maybe just kind of sitting back, and if he can get on a roll, it'd be cool to see break the PC curse, first title in like 16 years. It seems like.
Yeah, I think he'll. Any of these guys are just going to need some help from Vial. He's going to have
Hmm.
to have some to throw it away because otherwise he's just going to ride pretty consistent. But that's what's going to be interesting because if Tom Vial does win this title, he doesn't have a choice. He has to move up to 450 next year, and that makes things really interesting because I definitely don't think he's ready to make that jump into 450s yet. So
Do you
that's going
think
to be
they
interesting.
do you think like if he's forced to go up, he sits out Supercross next year and they just give him a 450 to train on all maybe throw him in a couple Supercrosses just as kind of warming him up to the 450 and kind of get him ready for outdoor prep because Vial Jet,
I
who
don't
else
think so.
outdoors?
I don't think so. I think still having him out there is still better than him skipping it completely, right? It's still get he's got to have a rookie year eventually, you're right. So might as well
Mhm.
have one like this that he's not ready. There's not going to be any expectations. I don't think everyone feels like, oh, he's being forced. That sucks. Like he's not ready. So I think you just throw him out there and just tell him, hey, no expectations. Just go out there and finish the full 17 round season first, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, it'd be interesting because yeah, I think RJ has to move up too because he got a year to defend. So RJ's moving up. He's already got that deal signed. But I heard,
Well,
I think it
he'll
was
be 450s and outdoors this summer.
yeah, but I heard, I think it was Pulp. Pulp was talking, I think, on how they don't think Rockstar Husky is going to be around next year for America.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he is going to go to a KTM. I have a feeling they're going to drop Gas as well because Barsha's a contract year. Ryder D, I think, is in his last year. So I wonder if they're going to move everything under a KTM tent.
Hmm.
Because or unless someone else comes in with the main sponsor for Husky, but I don't think it's the reason. I don't think it's Rockstar's the reason why they're
No,
closing the
I thought they
team.
were always gonna have Husky. It was Gas that was gonna get dropped.
No, I think Kiefer said something about it was I don't know if RJ's gonna be on a Husky next year because I don't know if that team's gonna be around. I'll have to re-listen to it, but
Well, then you also have Malcolm too.
I don't think he's gonna get re-signed because I think this is contract year.
Yeah, so I don't know.
There's gonna
This
this
is gonna
there's
be a good off season for sure.
well, yeah, because you got everything kind of revolves around what Tomac's gonna do. That's gonna be the big thing. If Star's gonna have an open ride or not. And
Yeah,
then Sexton's up, Anderson's up. I think AP's also up. Where's Mookie's gonna go? Barsha's up. Like there's I mean over half your top 10 is up for a contract this year.
and there are most of them are at the end of their career too.
So yeah, it's like are they gonna try to give some of these and if
But
you
the
think
good
I think
thing is you're gonna have a new ride coming in. Triumph 450 is gonna be around next year, so that will be a spot. Ducati will be around a year after that, so there's going to be some
so
more seats
I think
open.
Ducati's gonna be around next year because they're trying to get Homologa guys to race in July in outdoors. They're trying to get bikes to America as soon as possible.
Hey, who knows? We'll see. That'll be cool. Anything that they can get out there sooner the better. But yeah, so circling back to this 250 East title. Yeah, I mean, I just got to give it to Vial right now. I mean, if the ball's in his court, he's not a flashy guy. He's just going to go out there and log races. He doesn't care about, racking up these wins. He's just going for that title. And yeah, he's in the perfect spot.
Yeah, they even asked him about it too on the broadcast. Like, would you rather have, they did a little special on him or whatever. They even asked him, would you rather have the wins or the champion? He's like, if you're on a factory bike, they pay you to win championships, not
Yeah,
to win races. He's like, I don't, he's like, I just want to win titles. He's like, I gave everything up in Spain. I literally packed a backpack or one bag and came to America with just that. We sold everything to come here. He's like, I want to win championships. That's what I'm here for.
yeah,
So. Yeah, if he just stays consistent, I think this is definitely his title. But depends. Do we have weather? That's going to be the huge factor, I think,
yeah,
in this
yep.
next.
All right, jumping back over to 450s, race number three. I thought Sexton was going to do the first sweep. I mean, he had it in the bag. I don't really know what happened. He spun out coming out of that turn, and then that was kind of it. And then Cooper went past. I think Sexton probably could have got him back, but I just think Sexton just
About time, Larry.
to me, it just seemed like it was a little over exaggerated. It's like, okay, Sexton, like, yes, he just passed you, but if you're there, like, you might have an opportunity to get back because you're fast, okay. But if you're trying to ride over your head to go chase this guy down, when he's ahead, then okay. But to me, it just seemed like I just felt like Sexton kind of gave up a little too easy after that bobble, and really kind of honed into, oh, I don't have to win to win the overall. So I don't know. I still think Sexton kind of overthinks a lot going out there, but Webb looked good. Third race, it is what it is. Sexton gets the second. Stewart, Roxon, Plessinger, Cooper, Anderson went down again, so he hits the deck in all three races. Um, but yeah, Justin, anything as far as race number three that stood out to you?
Uh, I honestly thought Sexton was going to try to push after Webb made that first pass, and then Sexton tried to come back and passed him for like a quick second or whatever in one of the short rhythm sections, and Webb got back around. But I was like, Sexton, don't do it again. Like, how dumb are you? If you're gonna do it again, like you literally have a 1-1 right now. Don't fucking blow it and be stupid. And like you said, after that bobble, maybe he settled. I know they said on the broadcast, whoever the freaking I don't even remember who the girl is that fucking does the announcements. The Will, right?
Mm-hmm.
She was talking that on the pit board, they're telling him, "Hey, you don't need to win this. You don't need to win this," or whatever. Like, "Hey, just keep it on two wheels." Then it's like the fact your team's got to fucking tell you this. You should already know coming into this moto. If he fucking wins, oh well, just settle in, win. But like you said, I think he definitely had the speed. He could have done it, but then maybe he freaked himself out making that bubble, and he was like, "Oh shit, I'm not gonna do this again." Just
Yeah,
back it
he's
down, but
so hard to read because it's like, dude, like you just felt like the first Triple Crown, he did what he was supposed to. Tomac passed him, took off, and he chased him down. He said, "I wasn't looking for it." Like, okay, smart. That makes sense. Tomac was easily the faster guy there, no doubt. Then you go into what was it,
Dallas.
Arlington,
Yep.
and then he's in the same exact situation, but then he's like, he wants to win. He wants to prove a point to Cooper Webb, the only guy that he wants to beat, and then he throws away the win. And then he comes into this one, and he has a chance at making fucking history because he goes 1-1 the very first one, and then he gets a whole shot at this one. It's like, dude, like you're gonna have more momentum and feel a lot better if you would have just pushed and gotten that win versus yeah, you did when you got the overall, but Webb still ended up beating you, in that third race. I still think Sexton and just seeing like how he's handled situations, I still think in the back of Sexton's head, he's still gonna have that thought of, oh, I could have beaten Webb there. I should have gone and gotten him. To where the next time we're in the same situation, where Sexton maybe doesn't have to win to get the overall, I think we're gonna see it come back out where Sexton's gonna push to prove a point of see, like, no, like I can win. So I don't know. I mean, he did what he was supposed to do. A huge point swing. What was it?
7. So it was at
Seven
15. Now it's
points.
at
Like,
8. That's
so
big,
that's
but
kind of crazy because I mean, we've always talked about, Webb is always going to be on the podium, and here we are. He's off the podium section. We know he's capable of winning, but yeah, I mean, that's a big point swing. We're going into, we've talked about the weather. Cooper Webb is far from being a good rut rider. Um, Sexton's shown that he's capable. So that's going to be interesting, but I don't know, man. I think this is exactly what Sexton needed to make this title chase a lot more interesting. Because when you're up in the 15s, I thought that Webb was kind of going to run away with it.
yeah, it definitely helps that he kind of did, those 7 points. That's huge. That's almost 2 races, if Webb would have got second and you win. So that's a huge point swing to get in 1 week, especially with it being a triple crown and getting that many points.
Mhm.
Normally, your triple crown is when you can you can minimize damage if you do fuck up, but it seemed like some of the other guys were more consistent throughout the night than normal. So that kind of threw a monkey wrench in Webb's night. And yeah, it's just like with Sexton, like you said, it's hard to read because it's like there's no the only consistency we have in Sexton is fucking up.
It's the
That's about it.
inconsistency.
Yeah. And it's just like either you're gonna do it or don't do it. Like pick one or the fucking other so we can
Hmm.
just fucking know. And every time we think, oh, he's got it figured out, he fucks up. And then when we think
Yep.
he don't got it figured out, he's got it figured out. So it's
Yep.
it's almost like I think I mentioned something about him, either having a mental coach or going to someone else besides his, dad to train him, I think in a couple episodes ago. But I don't know where he's doing his mental coach. Maybe he does need to switch it up and, have someone maybe not his dad in his ear helping him out. I know he tried to do James, but, James is from his dad was taught him was just pretty much go faster, pussy. Like, just keep going. You ain't giving up. Just twist that throttle more, and you'll fucking figure it out.
It's
So
almost like I don't know. Maybe Sexton just has like ADHD, and he needs to take something to kind of calm him down, and he can't because he doesn't want to be like Stewart and get banned for
positive
using.
Adderall, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's been an interesting season, this far, so I'm all for it. Shout out Malcolm. He's up getting second overall. Hey, I'll be the first one to say it. I said I didn't think he was going to podium again. Yes,
I did
it was a
too.
triple crown, so I'm always going to put that asterisk by it. But hey, great ride for him. Way to get it done. Hey, yeah, he proved me wrong. AP once again. I know we've been dogging on him quite a bit. He's found some consistency as well. His starts have been great.
That's
So
been
shout out
huge
to
for him.
him. Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is big in this class in general. I mean, going to Cooper Webb 741, Cooper Webb wasn't able to make his way through the pack much. Like,
I
yeah,
think that
he could get up to all the factory guys, but once he got into that group of factory guys, he couldn't really do much.
and I think that kind of plays into what we're talking about. The track almost kind of seemed like a basic, kind of there wasn't a lot of time to make or a lot of places to make up time. So I wonder if that really had a lot to kind of play into it. And it seems like a lot of these tracks at these football stadiums, they're having these really short, like where the end zone is, these short like switchback rhythm sections, which kind of don't really do much. Not much separation because it's pretty much the same. They can only really do one line because there's not enough, options to do, or like they don't build like in the berms, like a high part or low part to where, maybe it can work out better. So I wonder if that's kind of, we've seen a couple stadiums just basic like that to where you can't make up time. There's not a lot of time
Yeah.
making ability on these tracks this year. And it seems like they're so basic, everyone can pretty much run pretty similar lap times. And like we need to bring dragon backs back and two whip sections and some other cool
Or
shit.
fuck, it's dirt. Make your own new obstacle.
Yeah.
Like get creative. Make a rhythm section that is higher on one side and lower on the other. Like I
Well,
don't
like
I
that's
don't
the
know.
thing.
Trying to figure
They're
out something.
they're so like every jump is a 3 footer, 5 footer, a 3 footer. Fucking make one 2 feet, make one 6 feet, make one fucking move the like you said, move the dirt around, adjust the jumps, adjust the length for the doubles. Like back in the day, we didn't have as many like in a rhythm section, we weren't having 12, 15 obstacles. It was just, 8 to 10, but they spaced them out a little bit more, so it was harder to jump. You weren't having these huge quads because the quads, back then were just pretty much like a triple for some of these bikes because they'd space them out a little bit more. They would change the heights of jumps, and now it's 3 foot, 5 foot, 3 foot. Table, 3 foot, 5 foot, 3 foot, supercross triple. And why do we have supercross triples? I get it back in the day, it was like cool. Now it's like, bro, anyone can hit that,
I would
on any
leave it.
250 and
I would leave it. It's just one, it gives the riders a chance to breathe.
take a breathe,
Two,
yeah.
it's a big jump, so yeah,
But shit, dude,
I
you
don't
can
mind
make
it.
it a double though. Just take out the dirt in the middle. What's the point? If they're
I
if they're
think
not gonna
that's just
jump it,
more
you
the
can
point of
roll it.
just
Like,
bail. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
All right. Going to the rest of the results, Roxon gets a fifth, Justin Cooper a sixth, Anderson seventh, McElrath, great ride with an eighth. Now I'm telling you, I'm surprised. Maybe they did, but I mean HRC, why not give McElrath a look? He's been riding good. Honestly, I think he's gonna perform better than Dino is on HRC bike anyways, but and
I
my
don't think.
understanding is like Shane's like his ride is kind of like hit and miss. Like it's still not even like 100% like every single round. He's just kind of going week by week.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why HRC doesn't have anyone on that bike. Like,
It
put
sounds
Trey.
like Dino's gonna get it, and I don't
It,
know,
has he
could
been
be this
riding it?
weekend.
I haven't seen anything of him riding it. But also, like I would kind of mention, throw Trey Kennard out. Trey Kennard's been talking about how he's like in the best shape of his life. He's been riding so much. It's like just put someone out there. I mean, it'd be cool to see Trey come back. Obviously, we don't expect him to win. You're not anyone you put on that HRC bike. You're not expecting him to win. It's not your top guy. You're not. No matter who you
No,
put on
but
that
I
bike, they're
mean,
not to
some
win.
names are
But
still bigger than others. Like
yeah,
you're still putting Trey Kennard out there. If you put up Dino out there, people are gonna have
yeah,
higher expectation for Trey Kennard than they are for Dino, even though Trey Kennard's been retired for
12
however long.
years.
But yeah, I mean, I agree, right? It's a new bike. That bike needs to be out on the track so that you can get data, regardless who it is. Like,
Who? Yeah,
yeah, Dino's going to be in better shape than Kennard. Who knows? Maybe they're worried Kennard could end up being ugly. Maybe he
yeah.
really struggles. So, yeah, get Dino out there, but someone that's gonna, ride it good and give you like legitimate feedback on it rather than it
Well,
just sitting there. But
Well, even
yeah,
just for your sponsors' sake, like your sponsors are spending millions and millions of dollars to be on factory Honda. That's the fucking bike. Everyone always wanted to be on a factory Honda. Like that's an accomplishment and like a privilege to be on that bike. Like at least do something for your sponsors. I mean, what have they both the Lawrence brothers been out what 6 weeks? 6, 7 weeks
yeah,
maybe,
pretty
something like
much.
that.
Yep,
So it's like how I get it. And Dino's been done with Arena Cross for 3 to 4 weeks already. So
yep.
why isn't he already on that bike? We've already had two breaks
Maybe
throughout
he
the
is. Maybe
season.
he's testing right now. That's why he hasn't been racing.
Oh fuck, dude, just throw him out there. Put Uncle or Grandpa Earl out there. Who gives a shit?
Right. Um, Barsha with a nice Betty Bloss 10th, great job. Hill 11th. Christian Craig ends up getting a 12th. Honestly, that's right around where I kind of anticipated him kind of falling in there outside the top 10.
I picked him
Um,
15th. I picked him 15th in
15.
Rocky.
Yeah, I think he'll be right around that because I mean he's going to beat the Mitchell Oldenburgs, the Chisholms, the Robbins, and all that too. But all right, so going into the 450 point
Hey,
standings.
hey,
Yep.
1 second, real quick. Think about it. CJ, he's missing out tonight. Stewart, freaking with the second place, right? Great, pretty much all day. Can't even talk about it. And then Zach's Beta Boys, are freaking got a top 10 this week. We're missing our boys, dude.
Yeah, what can I say? The work ethic with this generation just isn't there, you know?
They're just slacking, dude. They just don't. I mean, I may be young, but they just don't raise them like they used to.
Priorities.
Yeah.
Um, all right, so going into the point saying, so Webb still has the red plate. He has 11. Sexton is at 211 to 203, so was that an 8 point
8
swing?
points. Yeah.
So I mean Sexton's definitely right back into it. You know, Ken Roxon's 184 ways back, Malcolm Stewart, Justin Cooper. I'm still keeping an eye on that Stewart and Justin Cooper matchup there, 162 to 160. But yeah, I mean this title is still very much up for grabs. I'm still gonna lean with giving
Webb.
it to Webb, just because I just think he's just gonna stay consistent, and we have what 8 7 8 rounds left to go. I just feel like Sexton's bound to make another mistake eventually, and Webb's not going to. Um, but yeah, I mean, a heck of a season so far, even with the guys that we've missed out on. Seems like it's every year. You know, it's always like, oh, I wish so and so was in here, would have been great, but it is what it is. At least we're getting a good race series out of it. And yeah, we're back to West Coast
Hey, you know who we
this
haven't heard
weekend.
about it? You know who I haven't heard about at all? I just kind of thought about it because you're talking about people missing.
Uh-huh.
Prado. Has anyone said anything about Prado's shoulder or anything?
No, but I mean, honestly, I'm
I'm
not
like
even
curious. Is he
really
like back on
until
the
it gets
bike yet though?
closer.
He
Until it
should
gets
be
closer
on.
to outdoors, I'm not worried about Prado.
Yeah. Well, I'm not. I'm just like curious if you've heard anything because I haven't heard anything, and it's been. I mean, what did he get hurt? Middle of January. It's
Yeah, but
about
that's
time
that's
for him.
he's that's Kawasaki though. They don't tell you about anything.
That's true.
Remember when
Yeah.
Bolin like dislocated his hip? Like you never heard
Yeah.
anything about it.
Yep. Yeah.
So that's
They're
just
so corporate. And they're hush hush.
yep. But all right, yeah. I mean, shoot, we didn't really touch up on it. I mean, we might as well, but we had SMX next this
Oh
week,
yeah.
and
Uh-huh. Holy fuck,
man, I mean,
dude.
it was entertaining for sure. I mean, guys were
Holy
hitting the
shit.
deck. We had 4 lead changes. I mean, unfortunate for the club guys, they had 2 chances at winning it. They both threw it away.
Three liters
Gordon,
down. 3 liters
yeah,
down.
Gordon got stuck on the over under bridge, and then Enzo Timmerman ends up getting it done. But wow, what a crazy SMX next race that was.
Hey, all I gotta say, it seems like it was announcer's curse after announcer's curse.
Yeah.
I like, it just say, oh, he's in the lead, and then like literally they change it to go to like second place, and you hear the
Yep.
crowd erupt, and they go right back to the leaders down. And I don't think they caught any of them on TV like in the
No,
moment.
it's
I think
always the
all of them were
aftermath.
all yeah replays. And yeah, dude, Landon Gibson, he took a pretty good digger, and then it sucked for the club guy that crashed first. That was kind of a weird. The
Hmm.
way his bike just kind of, it's like his front tire just like, it just reacted, locked up and reacted. And then
Yep.
the last club guy just said, fuck it, dude, we're going through the fence. Oh, holy shit. And
Yeah.
Gordon being stuck was weird. At first, when I first saw it, I thought only his left leg was stuck. I'm like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Just like slide your leg and move over. Like, what the hell are you
Yeah.
doing? And then like I saw like they did a replay and it's like, damn, dude, he was trapped both legs and the bike's like
Yep.
pushing you down. That I was like that. I'm
Oh, and
like,
those things
fuck
are
that,
steep
dude.
too.
Yeah, I'm like, dude, my little ass can barely fucking pick my bike up off the stand, dude, let alone being on a fucking, we're probably the same fucking weight. He may have me beat, but shit, dude, I'm like, that'd be a pain in the ass. Track crews all trying to run up the fucking over under to try to
Yeah.
help them out. I'm like, good luck, dude.
It was right at the beginning of the race too. Bikes were flying by and shit. But
Yeah, wait, hey, did you see Waste Kid was out there?
Yeah, I did actually. I did see that on there.
Yeah, that's cool
Not
for him.
much
I
talked
I
about
know.
him, but yeah, I saw him out
And
there.
yeah, I guess he raced spring nationals, but I guess he got hurt like in Daytona or just before Daytona. So I guess he's kind of was on the mend. He bummed his shoulder out, but it was cool to see the next generation of like the previous riders, kids
They're kids, yeah.
kind of come like Deegan, yeah, but I'm talking about like people that actually like were in the sport, like racing Supercross forever,
Yeah.
like way. I'm interested to see what Reed's kid eventually does, but we're starting to have some of those guys that we all grew up watching. Their kids are finally coming through. Thought Ferry's kid was going to do something. He's been hurt. It looks like he's back on the bike finally, but it'd be
Which I
cool to
feel like
see.
that's unique to our sport. Like you don't see that very often in
It's
the
new.
NFL or the NBA.
It's very new for us though, because like you hear like all Carmichael, some of these other guys, McGrath, like some of these legends, and none of their kids race. It's a very,
Yeah.
very few. But I feel like now, maybe I wonder if it's now with all the social media and all the YouTube stuff. Some of these kids now that are sons of, they're like, yeah, let's race, and then like the dads, they've been in it for so long, they kind of know the business plan. And they kind of just put it all together, and the kids actually enjoy the racing and get to it. So it's cool to see. I mean, the only I can't even really think none of like a previous pro's really son really doing much. I mean,
Mm-mm.
at all. I mean, Deegan's son is pretty much the only one that's someone that's won a race and then their son really do anything that I can think of. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, speaking of digging, let's jump over into this weekend. We got Seattle 250 West is back, if I'm not wrong. Looking at the
yep.
track, honestly, it looks a lot similar to some of the track layouts that we've seen. There's a really long rhythm section up and down the entire stadium. I am looking, there is no sand section on this track,
Which I think
but
that's classic for Seattle, though. I don't think there's ever sand at
yeah, because I
Seattle. It
feel like
seems
Seattle
like.
usually has a pretty soft base anyways. So almost
Yeah,
the whole
it's.
track is almost kind of sandy.
I'm curious. What is the
Left
wet?
hand turn,
Is the wet?
but
Is the weather supposed to be rainy?
that's what I've heard. Yeah, it's supposed to be rainy.
It'd be nice to see how the first mud race. It'd be interesting though, like if there's a mud race and with Deegan and all this shit, dude, it could turn this whole championship around.
Oh, it definitely could.
Because he is only up 12. I
Yeah,
mean, it sounds like a lot, but if there's a mud race and then you still have Denver and Salt Lake, I believe, for those guys after this. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's enough. I mean, you lose, like, pretty much like Webb, him losing 7 points this week. I mean, if
Oh yeah.
Deegan loses 7 points this week, that
I think
5 point lead,
the biggest thing though with this though is Deegan only has one person that can really make a difference, and it's Juju. And
yeah,
honestly, I can't say that Juju's going to be some great guy in a mud storm either. Honestly, he
he
might
might,
be
he,
worse if
no,
it's
he
a
might,
mud.
no, Mud, he might be better, dude. He might pull out his fucking jet ski, dude, and
I
fucking
don't know.
beat
I
the
heard he
shit
can't
out of
ride
everyone.
ruts. I heard he can't ride ruts, and that's all he's gonna
Yeah,
get.
y- yeah, but it ain't raining and there ain't no standing water on the track. There's standing water on the track. He be out there
Yeah.
in his fucking stand up, dude, fucking beating everyone's ass.
But yeah, no, it'll definitely be interesting. There's a whoop section right before the finish line, so that will be good. There's a couple of those, switchback rhythm sections, So yeah, I mean, looks like a pretty basic track. We'll keep an eye on the weather, see what it looks like, but there is a great chance that that is going to play a factor. But all right, Justin. Well, anything
There's
else? Have
a
they put out any odds for this weekend's race?
I looked earlier and I didn't see anything. I'll double check real quick. But speaking of this week's track, there's a lot of 180 turns. I noticed.
Yeah,
There's only
yeah,
one 90-degree turn, and it's that right after that long rhythm section. So if the track isn't muddy, I'm almost interested to see how many we're gonna get a lot of block passes or whatever the fuck could happen.
yeah,
Because it, like I said, with it being Seattle and soft and stuff like that, 180 turns, it could cause a whole shit show to
yeah.
happen.
Oh
Let's
yeah,
see. Yeah, there is no bets out yet right now, and I wonder if maybe after the Kenny news, maybe they're holding off on some odds real quick to hear some stuff. But you got to think, Sexton's title odds had to have obviously improved. So I wonder what those are at.
yeah.
Um, And then I haven't bet. They got that manufacturer bet now. You can bet on what manufacturer you think's gonna win. So that's kind of cool. They're kind of adding some little
Yeah,
little new shit in. So I'm honestly interested to see how outdoors does. I think that's gonna be the fun time to really bet is outdoors.
yeah, yeah. No, I agree. Well, all right. No bets this week, but we'll keep an eye on it throughout the week. But give us a follow. Thank you for listening. Follow us on Instagram, X, YouTube, of course. But we will catch you next Monday to recap Seattle before we head off to Foxborough. But that is it for us this week. We will talk to you later. Bye.
Later.